Men over 50, if your love handles just won't budge, it's not because you're lazy or you're eating too much. But first, what are love handles? Love handles are the pockets of fat sitting on the sides of your waist, just above your hips. They're stubborn because of hormones, metabolism, and stress as we age. Today, I am sharing 7 hacks to melt those love handles without endless sit-ups or crazy diets. These hacks are based on real science, real results, and are practical for men over 50. Stick around because number 4 is one that I don't hear anybody talking about. Now, one thing we want to talk about is the spot reduction myth. So what does that mean? It means that no matter how many sit-ups you do or how much work you do for your core, and that's good, but that in and of itself doesn't mean you're going to lose fat from your abdominals and specifically from the love handles. See, your body puts fat on uniformly, and as you burn overall fat, increase muscle, and do some of the things we're talking about today, the fat will also come off uniformly. And you know, we have a tendency, men usually, to carry more fat in their stomachs. And again, genetics plays a part because some people carry more fat in certain parts of their bodies versus other parts of their bodies. So let's get right into it from there. After 50, testosterone begins to drop. In many cases, cortisol also begins to rise, and that results in fat being stored all over your body, but specifically on the abdominals. So we're going to talk about what can we do naturally for our testosterone levels to come up, because that's really what we have as one of the crux issues here, is that if our testosterone is down, we have a harder time adding muscle, we have a harder time doing things. So let's get right into it. Number 1, shoot for sleeping 7 to 9 hours every night. This one's an easy one, and we're going to talk about it more, but lift weights 3 to 4 times a week. Number 3, make sure to eat protein with every meal. And this one's a big one, especially when we talk about cortisol. Manage stress. We talk about this a lot on the channel because we live in such a busy society, but make sure that you are taking time to, a little bit to detox from all the technology, but also just to wind down. I take time for, breath work where I'm just focusing on my breathing. As a Christian, I take time to pray and read my Bible. But whatever that looks like for you, put time in your schedule just to unwind and de-stress and loosen up from the days and the life of just everything we have to do. Cardio alone is not going to get rid of your love handles. You have to take time to do resistance training. As we said, 3 to 4 times a week just for your testosterone, but obviously that's going to carry over to the rest of our bodies and shape our body by adding that muscle. And so as we are doing that, let's focus on kind of the big compound movements, right? So things like bench press, squats, deadlifts, chin-ups or assisted chin-ups, dips. And here's the thing, there may be some exercises that maybe don't work great for your joints. Like for me, I don't do regular squats anymore because it's too hard on my knees, but there's a machine at the gym that I can use, and I do, for doing squats. So there are alternatives to those things, but the idea is you want to do the large multi-joint exercises so that our body can then start building up that muscle. Also with that becomes our core work. So you need to, I said in the beginning that you don't have to do tons and tons of crazy sit-ups, but you're going to need to do some work for your core, whether that's planks, maybe some work for your obliques. You're going to do some I do ball crunches and planks, and I do the ab wheel. So, but you need to put in some time for that core work, because what's going to happen as the fat comes off, we're going to get to see what's underneath. And as we're developing muscles, not just shoulders, arms, those things, but our abs and our obliques, that's going to tighten everything up as well. non-exercise activity thermogenesis. I know that's quite the mouthful, but we call it NEAT. And really what it means is the activity that we do outside the gym. And these are simple things like, if you have the opportunity to have a stand-up desk, working at a stand-up desk. If you have if you're going to get groceries, make a point to park further away so that there's a bit more of a walk to get inside. It's just extra things that you can do to keep yourself moving. If you're seated at work, maybe take a break, get up, just walk up and down the hallway or just take a quick walk, whatever that looks like. Ideally, we want to aim for somewhere in the neighborhood of 7,000 to 10,000 steps per day. Now, you can get a Fitbit or something like that counts your steps, whatever that looks like for you. But that's an easy thing that we can do, and it becomes a part of our lifestyle then, right? It's not just, I go to the gym and I eat like this, but it's just everywhere and everything that we do. We're looking for ways that we can have a little bit more motion in our day, because a big part of the challenges that we face, especially in modern society, is sitting, because we spend so much time sitting. It affects our joints, it affects our hips, it affects our muscles. So taking that time to incorporate some neat activities will help us a lot. If you are over 50 and you are serious about trimming your waistline and living your best life today, hit that subscribe button. I share information with you every week that's practical, that you can use every day and apply in your life. No fluff, because trust me, I've done all sorts of gimmicky things and all it did was hurt my body and I didn't get good results. So give us a subscribe, like the video, and let's get right back into it. Now, here's something that a lot of guys over 50 don't recognize. Bad posture can actually make your stomach look like it's more protruding, like you have more fat, like you have those love handles, than you actually do. So we want to address the whole posture issue right here. When your upper back starts to round forward, which happens after years of sitting at a desk or driving, your stomach naturally pushes out, even if you're fairly lean, and it gives you that soft, rounded look around the midsection that nobody's interested in doing. And so I always try to include some simple thoracic mobility drills in my warm-up routine, and that's things like the book stretch, which is lying on your side with your knees bent, arms out in front, and then rotating your upper body open and reaching your top arm all the way across. You'll feel it right through your upper back and chest, and it's amazing for loosening up tight muscles and improving posture. When your thoracic spine can move the way it's supposed to, your core muscles can finally do their job. That means better engagement during lifts, less back strain, and a tighter looking midsection even before you lose a single pound. So if you want to shrink those love handles faster, fix your posture and you'll notice a huge difference. Now there's another thing I add to this, which is I do regular dead hangs. So it helps decompress the spine. That's just where you're hanging on a bar, not really doing any exercise, but just letting your back stretch out. And I've found it to be a huge benefit for me just in stretching out my back. My lower back feels better, and I know my posture improves as a result also. Our nutrition plan is vital, especially after 50. We've talked about this a lot, that we got away with eating things in our 20s and 30s that our bodies will not handle anymore. So we need to have a plan of quality nutrition that includes quality protein, good fats, quality carbohydrates, but here are some big ones. We need to cut out the sugar. There are all sorts of sweeteners that are natural, that are far healthier to have than sugar. And focus on frequent meals. So I'm in the neighborhood of 5 meals a day so that I'm not eating one huge meal. But the point of those 5 meals throughout the day is my protein is split up during the day and make sure that my body is getting the protein it needs for the muscle that I'm trying to build. Another thing you might want to consider with your nutrition plan is intermittent fasting, which has been shown obviously huge health benefits, but has been shown to help specifically with autophagy and your body removing fat and getting rid of some of that loose skin. Sleep is not optional. Poor sleep lowers testosterone and raises cortisol. And we started with that because that is a recipe for disaster. So the rule of thumb, we should be aiming for 7 to 9 hours sleep every night. All right, now finally we come to cardio, because there is an element that we have to do cardio. You do not need to do hours and hours and hours of cardio, however. There's a couple of parts to this. There's what we call type 2 cardio. So that's a steady, whether it's a walk, light jog, cycling, but it's a very steady state move where we're going to do that for 20 or 30 minutes. The other thing that you can add to that regimen is you can do some interval training. So some high intensity interval training would be like doing some splits where you're going to run for maybe 10 or 30 seconds, and then you're going to walk for 30 seconds or a minute or something like that to catch up your breath and everything else. Or maybe something like kettlebells, where you're going to do some kettlebell swings and then stop and rest. Is another way to do that. But the point is, we need to incorporate some kind of cardiovascular work. Now, we've talked about this a lot on the channel, but you should be doing regular cardiovascular, just walking and getting out and doing something just for your heart, period. But if we're talking about our taking care of some of that fat, and we do all the other things that we've talked about, cardio is a vital part, but you don't need to do hours and hours and hours of cardio to take care of those love handles. If you got some value out of this, please take a minute and subscribe to the channel, like the video. That just helps us out and helps with the algorithm to get the word out to more people that would appreciate this and get some use out of it. Now, take out of those 7 things, take 1, take 2, take them all, but grab a hold of something and start today with and stick with it with something so that you can deal with that. Because the other thing is, aside from the belly fat doesn't look good, it's also dangerous. And so we want to be around for our kids, our grandkids, and our families, and we want to age gracefully. Thank you for joining me today. We'll see you next time. Keep punching.